Welcome. Thank you all for joining us today as we remember and celebrate the life of Helen Chandler and welcome her to her new eternal home. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Arthur. I'm a filmmaker, Hollywood historian, and something of a cemetery enthusiast. I'm not related to Helen, but after finding her urn at Chapel of the Pines, I had the pleasure and the privilege of working with her family to have her urn retrieved from the vault, which is not accessible to the general public, so that she could be moved here to Hollywood Forever Cemetery, where she can finally be visited by family, friends, and fans who love her. The family couldn't be here today to join us for this ceremony. They're all out of state, but they are with us in spirit, and they sent a nice letter for me to read. So I thought I would just open with that and let you know that they knew. Good afternoon, everyone. We would like to begin by thanking Arthur Dark for his efforts in bringing Helen Chandler to a new home where she can be visited by her admirers. This would not have been possible without Arthur's diligent work and the generosity of many. I promise you this was written by them, not by me. We were very young when Helen passed, but our grandparents delighted us with stories about her and her life and the life she led. She was an intelligent, fun-loving woman with a lust for life who made her way from humble beginnings to an extraordinary height. And she accomplished this in an era when women's rights and lives were dictated by men. She was a fearless, independent woman who enjoyed life and was determined to make the most of it. You may enjoy knowing that the role she played that most closely matched her true personality was her role as Monica in the film Christopher Strong with Katharine Hepburn, Colin Clive, and Billy Burke. Helen was a spirited soul. The public is likely not aware that Helen was also immensely generous. Our grandparents were teenagers when our father was born, and the Depression was in full force. Aunt Helen, who had no children of her own, made sure that their medical bills were paid and that our father received regular meals. She literally fed him. She gave our father a healthy start to life, and for that we are forever grateful. That's the kind of person she was. If you will permit a humorous anecdote, Aunt Helen excitedly sent her car and driver to pick up our grandmother when she was about to give birth to our father. The driver was enormously anxious that Grandma's water would break while she was in the limo, and he kept yelling, "Don't let your water break," all the way to the hospital. This story was a favorite, and it brought tears to our grandparents' eyes every time we told it. We are here today for a celebration. As her nearest relations, we want to convey to everyone the happiness and the love that Helen spread among her family and friends. Aunt Helen's life got off to a wonderful, promising start with a loving brother who cherished her. She took to the Broadway stage at the age of 8 or 9, worked hard, attended the professional children's school in New York, along with her brother, and achieved fame as a young teen. She worked diligently at her craft and made a living acting on the stage and later in films. Upon her death, our grandfather took her ashes to Chapel of the Pines here in Los Angeles, on what would have surely been a very sorrowful day for him. He was saying goodbye to his only sister, his only remaining connection to the family he grew up with. He had her interred in a permanent storage vault, which meant no visitors. At that time, this was a popular choice for movie stars of Helen's generation. It was very common. But over the many years, things have changed. Indeed, Helen's candle has not burned out. She has garnered a new following of devoted fans who want to be able to call on her to pay their respects or just to simply be with her. Today we celebrate Helen's new home, a resting place that people can visit. We feel as if Aunt Helen has been taken out of the dark and brought into the sunlight. We understand that many of you are here to pay your respects, and we very much look forward to visiting her ourselves. Thank you for attending today. Thank you for your love and your support of our great aunt. And thank you for keeping her memory alive. Our heartfelt thanks go out to Arthur for initiating and managing Helen's move to a new home. We appreciate all of you for your support of Helen's efforts. We are certain that Helen would be delighted and that she is somewhere in heaven smiling down on all of us. I'm I'm glad that the family was able to be with us here in spirit and let us know that Helen, that they knew. We all know her as an actress. We're fans of her work. I, like many of you, know her as Mina in Dracula. But after reading this note, I'm going to have to go back and rent Christopher Strong and watch her in a role that, according to her family, was closest to her true personality. Helen might be surprised to know that Dracula is the role that has endured, but it certainly has, and it has introduced many of us to her work all these generations later. In fact, only a couple of days ago, I was at a pizzeria here in Hollywood, and there was a poster of Dracula on the wall, and I took tremendous delight in seeing Helen Chandler's name right there on the poster as I was eating pizza just days before this event would take place. I'm grateful to the family for putting their faith in us, putting their Aunt Helen in our hands for this transition. I'd like to open up the floor to anyone who would like to share their memories or recollections of Helen. But before I do, there are a few people that I'd like to thank for making today possible. I want to extend my gratitude to Hollywood Forever, to Noel and Tyler for helping us find such a beautiful, eternal home for Helen, out of the darkness and into the light. I want to thank Chapel of the Pines, Helen's former home, for allowing us to find her and helping us to facilitate her transfer out of the vault here today. I want to thank Susie for these beautiful flower arrangements that she brought for us today to honor the beautiful Helen. And I want to thank Jessica Wall here up front, without whose incredible diligence and work none of this would be possible. Jessica is the one who has been leading and spearheading, coordinating the efforts to digitally catalog the vaults and all the thousands and thousands of urns that are therein. Not just to find the many stars that are down there, but the thousands and thousands of souls who rest in the vault that can now be found. And she has done countless hours of work for months on end, and it's an honor to have worked with her in this project. And finally, I have to thank you all and the fans who aren't here with us today around the world. It was through fundraising efforts and generous donations from people who still love and remember Helen all these years later that we were able to have the funds to give Helen such a beautiful and fitting final resting place. So with that, I thank you again for joining us today. And let me now open up the floor to anyone who would like to share their memories or recollections of Helen, please.